There is one invisible mental habit, so subtle, so automatic, that most people never realize it has been shaping their entire lives. It quietly turns small disappointments into deep suffering, peace into anxiety, love into attachment, success into never feeling enough. According to the timeless wisdom of Buddhism, this hidden habit lies beneath so much of the suffering we experience. And until you learn to recognize it, your mind will keep creating the same pain again and again. But the moment you truly see it, its power begins to disappear. In this video, I'll show you exactly what this hidden habit is, why it silently controls your thoughts and emotions, and the simple Buddhist practice that can help you break free from it. If you've ever felt trapped inside your own mind, stay with me until the very end. Because what you're about to discover could completely change the way you experience your life. If you're ready to master your mind instead of being controlled by it, comment "I'm ready" below, like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Let's begin. 1. The invisible war. Your mind fights against reality. Every moment of deep suffering begins with one quiet habit that almost nobody notices. It is not anger. It is not fear. It is not sadness. Those emotions come later. The real beginning of suffering is a silent argument inside your own mind. That argument sounds like this: "This shouldn't be happening." Most people never say those words out loud. But inside their minds, they repeat them again and again without even realizing it. "This shouldn't have happened to me. They shouldn't have treated me like that. They shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have failed. My life should be better by now. If only things had happened differently." These thoughts may seem harmless. They feel normal. In fact, almost everyone has them. But every time your mind says, "This shouldn't be happening," it begins fighting something that cannot be changed. It begins fighting reality itself. Think about standing in the middle of a powerful river. The water never asks where you want it to go. It simply flows. You push against it with all your strength. For a few moments, you feel like you're making progress, but after a while, your arms become weak. Your body becomes tired. Your breathing becomes heavy. The river never becomes exhausted. Only you do. Reality works exactly the same way. Life keeps moving, whether we like it or not. Time never stops. Children grow up. People change. Friends drift apart. Loved ones leave. Plans fail. Dreams change. Opportunities appear. Other opportunities disappear. Every day, life continues moving forward. But the human mind often refuses to move with it. Instead of walking with reality, it keeps turning around, trying to pull the past back into the present. It keeps asking impossible questions. What if I had said something different? What if I had tried harder? What if they had stayed? What if I had made another choice? Notice something very important. None of these questions can change what has already happened, yet millions of people spend years asking them every single day, not because the past is still happening, but because their minds refuse to stop arguing with it. This is why two people can go through the same painful experience, yet live completely different lives afterward. Both lose someone they love. Both experience heartbreak. Both feel the same pain. But one person slowly accepts what happened, learns from it, and continues living. The other keeps replaying the same memories every night, hoping the past will somehow become different. The pain was the same, but the suffering became completely different. Why? Because one accepted reality, the other fought it. Buddhism teaches us something very powerful. Pain is part of every human life. No one escapes it. No amount of money can stop it. No perfect relationship can prevent it. No success can remove it. If you love someone, one day you may lose them. If you build something, one day it may change. If you dream, sometimes those dreams will break. Pain is simply part of being alive, but suffering is something different. Suffering begins when the mind refuses to let pain pass naturally. Imagine holding a burning piece of hot coal in your hand. At first, it hurts. But instead of dropping it, you squeeze it tighter. Minutes pass. Hours pass. Days pass. The coal continues burning your hand. Then you ask, why am I still in pain? The answer is not because the fire became stronger. The answer is because you never opened your hand. Many people live exactly like this. They keep holding old memories, old anger, old disappointment, old guilt, old regret, old heartbreak, old words spoken years ago. They carry these things everywhere they go. When they wake up in the morning, the memories are there. When they eat, the memories are there. When they try to sleep, the memories are still there. Slowly, those memories become heavier than the present moment itself. The strange part is that reality never asked them to carry this weight. Their own minds did. Reality does not ask for your permission before it changes. The sun rises whether you are happy or sad. The seasons continue whether your heart is broken or full of joy. The ocean never stops moving because someone is crying. The wind never changes direction because someone is disappointed. Life continues moving with perfect patience. Only the mind keeps stopping to argue with what has already happened, and every argument steals a little more peace. This does not mean you should stop caring. It does not mean you should pretend nothing hurts. Buddhism never teaches us to become cold or emotionless. A wise person still feels sadness. They still cry. They still miss people. They still experience disappointment. The difference is that they do not build a home inside those emotions. They allow pain to visit, but they never allow it to become their permanent address. That is wisdom. There is a huge difference between feeling pain and fighting reality. Pain opens the heart. Resistance closes it. Pain comes naturally. Resistance keeps inviting pain back again and again. Acceptance is one of the most misunderstood words in the world. Many people think acceptance means giving up. It does not. Some people think acceptance means saying, "I'm happy this happened." It does not. Acceptance simply means seeing reality exactly as it is, instead of demanding it become something else. Acceptance quietly says, "It happened. I cannot change yesterday, but I can choose how I live today." Those simple words hold incredible power, because the moment you stop asking, "Why did life do this to me?" you become free to ask a much better question. What is life trying to teach me through this? That single question changes everything. Suddenly, you stop seeing yourself as someone being punished by life. You begin seeing yourself as someone being shaped by life. Every challenge becomes a teacher. Every disappointment becomes a lesson. Every ending becomes the beginning of a deeper understanding. Little by little, your energy stops flowing backward into the past. It begins flowing forward into the life that is still waiting for you. That is the moment real healing quietly begins. But here is something even more surprising. Even after people finally stop fighting reality, many of them continue suffering. Why? Because another invisible habit is still hiding inside the mind. A habit so convincing that people rarely question it. They believe every thought that enters their mind. They never stop to ask whether that thought is actually true. And that hidden habit creates an even deeper kind of suffering. That is where our next lesson begins. 2. Every thought you believe becomes your prison. After people stop fighting reality, there is another trap waiting for them. It is quieter, it is harder to notice, and for most people, it is even more dangerous. The trap is this: they believe every thought their mind creates. Think about that for a moment. Just because a thought appears inside your mind, does that automatically make it true? Of course not. But the strange thing is, most people live as if every thought deserves to be believed. The mind says, "Nobody cares about you," and they believe it. The mind says, "You're not good enough," and they believe it. The mind says, "You'll never change," and they believe it. The mind says, "You missed your chance," and they believe it. One simple thought, and suddenly their entire mood changes. Nothing outside has changed. The room is the same. The people are the same. The day is the same. Only one thought appeared, yet that single thought has the power to steal their peace. This is one of the greatest illusions of the human mind. It speaks with confidence, so we assume it must be telling the truth. But confidence is not the same as truth. Imagine receiving a letter every morning. Some letters contain wise advice, some contain complete lies. Would you believe every letter without reading it carefully? Of course not. Then why do we believe every thought without questioning it? The mind produces thousands of thoughts every single day. Some are useful. Some are beautiful. Some help us grow. But many are simply old fears wearing new clothes. Many are old memories pretending to be present reality. Many are stories that have been repeated so many times. They begin to sound like facts. Suppose someone ignores your message. Immediately your mind begins creating a story. They're upset with me. I must have done something wrong. They don't respect me anymore. Hours pass. Your heart becomes heavy. You feel anxious. You replay every recent conversation. Then later you discover their phone battery had died. Nothing was wrong at all. Notice what happened. Reality never hurt you. Your own story did. This happens every day. A person looks at you for 2 seconds. Your mind invents a story. Someone doesn't smile. Your mind invents another story. Your boss says, "We need to talk." Before the meeting even begins, your mind has already imagined losing your job. Your heart starts beating faster. Your body fills with stress. You cannot enjoy the rest of your day. Then the meeting begins, and your boss simply thanks you for your hard work. How many times has your mind frightened you with stories that never became real? More times than you can count. Buddhism teaches something very simple, yet incredibly powerful. A thought is only a thought. It is not reality. It is not a command. It is not your identity. It is simply one small event passing through the mind. Imagine sitting beside a road. Cars drive past every few seconds. Red cars, blue cars, large trucks, small motorcycles. Would you jump into every vehicle that passed? Of course not. You simply watch them come and watch them go. Thoughts should be treated the same way. Some deserve your attention, many do not. The problem is that most people climb into every passing thought. The moment fear appears, they ride with it. The moment anger appears, they follow it. The moment doubt appears, they allow it to decide their future. Soon they are living wherever their thoughts take them. And because fearful thoughts travel to fearful places, their lives become filled with unnecessary suffering. The mind is like a movie projector. It throws images onto the screen of your awareness all day long. Some scenes are happy, some are painful, some are completely imaginary. But many people become so absorbed in the movie, they forget they are sitting safely in the audience. They cry over scenes that are not happening. They fear endings that have not arrived. They suffer because they mistake imagination for reality. Awareness changes everything. The moment you notice yourself thinking, "I'll never be happy again," pause. Instead of asking, "Is this true?" ask a better question. Is this simply a thought? That one question creates space, and in that space, freedom begins. Because once you realize that thoughts come and go, you stop allowing them to control every emotion you feel. Think about the sky. Every day, clouds appear. Some are white and beautiful. Some are dark and heavy. Some bring storms. Some disappear within minutes. But no matter what kind of cloud appears, the sky itself never becomes the cloud. Your awareness is like the sky. Your thoughts are like the clouds. They come, they stay for a while, then they leave. But the sky remains open, peaceful, and untouched. The problem begins when you forget that you are the sky and start believing you are every passing cloud. One angry thought becomes, "I am an angry person." One fearful thought becomes, "I am a fearful person." One painful memory becomes, "My life is ruined." Little by little, you stop observing your thoughts. You become them. That is where the prison is built. The strongest walls are never made of stone. They are made of thoughts believed without question. Real freedom does not come from controlling every thought. That would be impossible. Even the wisest people have fearful thoughts. Even monks experience moments of doubt. The difference is not that they have better thoughts. The difference is that they do not believe every thought they have. They smile. They notice it. They let it pass. Then they return to the present moment. That simple habit changes an entire life, because the thought you refuse to believe can no longer control you. But even when people stop believing every thought, there is another hidden habit quietly stealing their happiness every single day. It whispers only two words, "not enough." And that endless feeling of never having enough may be one of the deepest sources of human suffering. 3. Your mind is addicted to not enough. Have you ever noticed something strange? There was a time when you prayed for the very life you have today. You wished for that job. You hoped for that opportunity. You dreamed about having more money. You wanted the relationship. You wanted the house. You wanted the freedom. You believed that once you finally had those things, you would feel complete. But then life gave them to you. For a short time, you felt excited. You smiled. You felt grateful. You believed you had finally arrived. Then, slowly, the feeling disappeared. Your mind found something else to chase, something else to worry about, something else to compare, something else that was still missing. This is one of the hidden habits that creates endless suffering. The mind is never satisfied for very long. It keeps whispering the same two words, not enough money, not enough success, not enough love, not enough beauty, not enough time, not enough achievement. No matter how much life gives, the mind quickly looks toward what it still does not have. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water, but there is a small hole at the bottom. You keep pouring more and more water inside. For a moment, the bucket looks full, but slowly, the water leaks away. So you pour in even more. You work harder. You chase more. You collect more. Yet the bucket never stays full. The problem was never the amount of water. The problem was the hole. The human mind works in exactly the same way. Most people believe they need more things to become happy. But happiness keeps leaking away because the mind has developed the habit of always looking for what is missing. This is why someone with a small house dreams of a bigger one. Someone with a bigger house dreams of a luxury home. Someone earning enough money dreams of earning twice as much. Someone with 1,000 followers wants 10,000. Someone with 10,000 wants 1,000,000. The destination keeps moving. The finish line keeps getting farther away. No matter how far they walk, their mind says, just a little more. Many people spend their entire lives climbing a mountain, only to discover that their mind has already pointed toward another mountain. Buddhism calls this attachment to endless craving. It is not wrong to have goals. It is not wrong to improve your life. There is nothing wrong with growing, learning, building, or dreaming. The problem begins when your happiness depends on getting the next thing, because if your peace depends on tomorrow, you will never fully live today. Imagine sitting at a beautiful dinner table. Your favorite meal is right in front of you, but instead of tasting the food, you spend the entire meal staring at someone else's plate. You keep thinking, their meal looks better, their portion is bigger, their dessert looks nicer. Eventually, you finish eating without ever enjoying your own meal. Nothing was wrong with the food. The problem was where your attention was looking. Life works exactly the same way. Many people do not suffer because their lives are empty. They suffer because they are constantly comparing their lives with someone else's. Today, comparison has become easier than ever. You open your phone. Within seconds, you see people traveling, buying new cars, getting married, building successful businesses, smiling in beautiful places, winning awards, living what appears to be the perfect life. Your mind quietly begins comparing. They're ahead of me. I'm falling behind. Why isn't my life like that? But what you are comparing is not reality. You are comparing your real life to someone else's carefully selected moments. You are comparing your everyday struggles to another person's highlights. That comparison can never be fair. It is like comparing an entire book to one beautiful page. The mind never tells you about the lonely nights behind those smiling pictures. It never tells you about their fears, their failures, their tears, their regrets. It only shows you what you think you are missing. And once again, the mind whispers, not enough. There is another comparison that is even more dangerous. The comparison with your own imagination. Sometimes your mind creates a perfect picture of how life should look. By this age, you should already be successful. By now, you should already be married. You should already own a house. You should already have everything figured out. Then, reality looks different. And instead of appreciating where you are, your mind becomes disappointed because life did not follow its imaginary plan. Notice what happened. Reality did not hurt you. Your expectations did. The life you imagined became the standard that your real life could never reach. That is why two people can have exactly the same life. One wakes up feeling deeply grateful. The other wakes up feeling deeply disappointed. The difference is not what they have. The difference is what their minds keep comparing. Buddhism teaches us a beautiful truth. Contentment does not come from having everything. It comes from seeing clearly what is already here. Think about breathing. Most people never notice it until they cannot breathe. Think about your eyesight, your ability to walk, the people who still love you, the food on your table, the quiet moments of peace. These gifts become invisible because the mind is too busy searching for the next thing. It is like standing in a beautiful garden while staring over the fence at someone else's flowers. You never realize your own garden has already begun to bloom. The practical change begins with one simple question. Instead of asking, "What is missing from my life?" ask yourself, "What beauty have I stopped noticing?" That one question changes your attention, and wherever your attention goes, your experience of life follows. Slowly, ordinary moments become meaningful again. A morning sunrise, the sound of rain, a peaceful walk, a conversation with someone you love, a quiet cup of tea, a deep breath. These small moments were always there. Your mind was simply too busy chasing something else to see them. When gratitude becomes stronger than comparison, peace quietly returns. Not because your life suddenly became perfect, but because your mind finally stopped demanding perfection before allowing you to feel happy. Yet even after the habit of comparison begins to fade, there is another invisible habit that continues stealing your peace every single day. It keeps your body in one place, but your mind somewhere else. And because your mind is never truly here, it never experiences the only moment where peace can actually exist. 4. Your mind is never here. So, peace never finds you. Have you ever noticed that your body can be sitting in a peaceful place, but your mind feels like it is trapped inside a storm? You may be sitting in your room. Everything around you is quiet. No one is arguing. Nothing dangerous is happening. The birds are singing outside. The air is calm. Yet inside your head, there is noise. You are replaying an old conversation, thinking about tomorrow, worrying about something that might happen, remembering someone who hurt you, imagining a future that does not even exist yet. Nothing around you is stealing your peace. Your own mind has simply left the present moment. This is one of the greatest reasons people suffer without understanding why. Their body lives in today, but their mind lives everywhere except today. Think about how many times your mind travels in a single day. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, your mind has already rushed into tomorrow's problems. While eating breakfast, you are thinking about work. While working, you are thinking about the weekend. While spending time with your family, you are checking your phone. While trying to sleep, you are replaying everything that happened during the day. Your body is always in one place, but your attention is somewhere else. And wherever your attention goes, your experience of life follows. Imagine someone gives you a beautiful gift. It is carefully wrapped. It has your name on it, but instead of opening it, you spend the whole day thinking about gifts you received years ago, or gifts you hope to receive in the future. At the end of the day, the present gift remains unopened. That is exactly how many people treat life. The present moment is the greatest gift they have ever been given, but they never truly open it. Their minds are too busy visiting yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. Buddhism teaches that life can only be lived in one place. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, only here, only now. The past is already finished. No amount of thinking can rewrite it. The future has not arrived. No amount of worrying can completely control it. Yet the mind spends almost all its energy in places where life no longer exists, or has not yet begun. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every single day. Inside that backpack are old regrets, unfinished conversations, fear about the future, guilt, disappointment, anger, anxiety. Every morning you put the backpack on your shoulders again. After months, you forget what it feels like to walk without it. You begin believing that feeling exhausted is normal, but it is not your life making you heavy. It is what you continue carrying inside your mind. Most people believe they are tired because they work too much. Sometimes that is true, but many people are exhausted because their minds never rest. Even when their bodies are sitting still, their thoughts keep running. They replay old memories, imagine future disasters, judge themselves, compare themselves, worry about people who are not even with them anymore. The body is resting. The mind is still running a marathon. No wonder so many people feel emotionally drained. The human mind is like a television with hundreds of channels. Every second, it offers another story. Another memory, another fear, another distraction, another fantasy. If you keep changing the channel every few seconds, you never truly watch anything. In the same way, if your attention keeps jumping from one thought to another, you never truly experience your own life. That is why so many beautiful moments pass unnoticed. Someone smiles at you, but your mind is somewhere else. The sunset fills the sky with color, but you never really see it. Your child is laughing, but your attention is lost inside tomorrow's worries. Someone tells you they love you, but your mind is still thinking about yesterday's mistake. Life is quietly happening all around you while your mind is absent. And then one day, people look back and say, life went by so fast. Maybe life did not pass too quickly. Maybe the mind was simply somewhere else the whole time. Buddhism gently invites us back to something very simple. This breath, this step, this sound, this moment. Not because the present is always perfect, but because it is the only place where life is real. Peace is never waiting in tomorrow. Peace has never been hiding in yesterday. Peace is always waiting here, in this very moment. Think about watching the sky after a storm. The clouds slowly begin to move away. The blue sky was never destroyed. It was only hidden for a while. Your peaceful nature is the same. It has never disappeared. It has simply been covered by endless thinking. The moment you stop chasing every thought, the peace that was already inside you begins to appear again. You do not have to create peace. You only have to stop running away from it. One simple practice can begin changing your life. Several times each day, pause for just a few seconds. Take one slow breath. Feel your feet touching the ground. Notice the sounds around you. Notice the air entering your lungs. For those few seconds, do not visit yesterday. Do not travel into tomorrow. Simply arrive where your life already is. At first, your mind will run away again. That is normal. Do not become angry with it. Simply bring it back, again and again. Every time you return to the present moment, you are training your mind instead of allowing your mind to train you. Little by little, the noise becomes quieter. The heart becomes lighter. The ordinary becomes beautiful again. You begin noticing things that were always there. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of rain, the laughter of people you love, the peace hidden inside silence. You discover that happiness was never missing. Your attention was. But even after learning to live in the present, one final obstacle remains. It is the deepest illusion the mind has ever created, an illusion so powerful that most people spend their entire lives believing it. They believe the painful story inside their mind is who they really are, and that illusion becomes the strongest prison of all. That is where our next lesson begins. 5. The story you keep repeating is destroying your life. There is one thing the human mind does every single day that most people never notice. It tells a story. From the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, your mind is constantly talking to you. It explains what happened yesterday. It predicts what might happen tomorrow. It judges other people. It judges you. It keeps creating one story after another, and after hearing the same story hundreds or even thousands of times, you slowly stop seeing it as a story. You begin believing it is simply who you are. That is where one of the deepest forms of suffering begins. Imagine reading the same page of a book every single day for 10 years. Eventually, you would know every word without looking. You would stop questioning whether the story was true because it had become so familiar. Your mind works in exactly the same way. It repeats certain stories so often that they begin to feel like facts. Maybe your story sounds like this: I always fail. Nobody really loves me. I'll never be good enough. People always leave me. I'm too late. I'm broken. I'm unlucky. At first, these are only thoughts, but after hearing them again and again, they stop sounding like thoughts. They begin sounding like your identity. This is one of the greatest tricks of the mind. It takes temporary experiences and turns them into permanent labels. Perhaps one relationship ended badly. Instead of saying, "That relationship ended," the mind quietly changes the sentence into, "I'll never be loved." One business fails. Instead of saying, "That business didn't work," the mind says, "I'm a failure." One person betrays your trust. Instead of saying, "That person hurt me," the mind whispers, "No one can ever be trusted." Can you see what is happening? Reality is no longer speaking. The story is. The story becomes stronger than the truth. Imagine an actor who spends 20 years playing the same character in a movie. Every day he wears the same clothes. He speaks the same lines. He behaves like the same person. Eventually, the movie ends, but the actor refuses to take off the costume. He walks into the real world, still believing he is that character. People would call that strange. Yet this is exactly what many of us do. We wear the costume of our past. We continue introducing ourselves through our old pain instead of our present awareness. We become the person who was rejected, the person who was betrayed, the person who was abandoned, the person who failed, the person who made mistakes. Years pass, but the costume never changes. The strange part is that life keeps inviting us to become someone new. New opportunities appear, new friendships begin, new experiences arrive. But because the mind is still protecting the old story, it cannot fully receive anything new. It is like trying to pour fresh water into a cup that is already full. There is no room left. This is why healing often feels uncomfortable. Most people think healing is painful because it asks us to let go of suffering. But that is only part of the truth. Healing is uncomfortable because it asks us to let go of the identity we built around our suffering. If you have spent years believing, "I am the person nobody chooses," then what happens when someone finally loves you? Your old story feels threatened. If you have always believed, "I never succeed," then success begins to feel unfamiliar. And the mind almost always chooses what is familiar over what is healthy, even if the familiar thing is pain. This is why people sometimes return to toxic relationships. This is why they repeat the same unhealthy habits. This is why they continue making the same mistakes. It is not because they enjoy suffering. It is because the mind feels safer inside a familiar prison than in an unfamiliar freedom. Buddhism teaches that this story is not your true self. It is something your mind created over many years. It was built from memories, experiences, opinions, fear, success, failure, praise, criticism. Little by little, the mind collected these moments and stitched them together into one long story called me. But think about this carefully. When you were a small child, you had a completely different personality, different fears, different dreams, different beliefs. As a teenager, you changed again. As an adult, you changed again. Your body changed. Your voice changed. Your thoughts changed. Your opinions changed. Almost everything about you has changed. So how can one painful story define who you truly are forever? The truth is, it cannot. Because you are not a fixed object. You are always changing, just like a river. The water flowing through a river today is not the same water that flowed through it yesterday, yet we still call it by the same name. Your life is like that river. Every experience changes you. Every lesson changes you. Every moment changes you. Why then do you continue introducing yourself through a version of you that no longer exists? The practical shift begins with something very simple. Pay attention to the words you use after the sentence, I am. Those two words are incredibly powerful. When you say, I am broken, your mind searches for proof. When you say, I am a failure, your mind begins collecting evidence to support that belief. When you say, I am not enough, your attention starts ignoring everything that proves otherwise. Instead, try changing the sentence. Instead of saying, I am anxious, say, I am experiencing anxiety. Instead of saying, I am a failure, say, I experienced failure. Instead of saying, I am broken, say, I am healing. The difference may seem small, but it changes everything. The first sentence creates an identity. The second creates movement. Identity keeps you trapped. Movement reminds you that every season eventually changes. Just because you feel something today does not mean you will feel it forever. Just because something happened to you does not mean it has become you. Your past is a chapter of your life. It is not the title of your entire story. The moment you stop introducing yourself through your wounds, you finally give yourself permission to grow beyond them. That is when the prison begins to disappear. But there is one final illusion that remains. It is the deepest illusion of all, because even after people stop believing their painful stories, they still make one final mistake. They believe that the voice inside their head is who they truly are. And once that illusion disappears, the hidden mental habit that creates suffering finally loses its power. That is where our final lesson begins. 6. The day you stop believing your mind, suffering begins to end. We have traveled through many hidden habits together. We discovered how the mind fights reality instead of accepting it. We saw how it believes every thought without questioning it. We uncovered its endless search for more, its constant escape from the present moment, and the painful stories it repeats until they become an identity. But beneath all of those habits lies one final illusion. It is the deepest illusion of all. If you understand this one truth, everything we have talked about suddenly comes together. The greatest mistake the human mind makes is believing that the voice inside your head is who you are. Think about that carefully. There is a voice that comments on everything. It judges, it worries, it complains, it compares, it predicts, it remembers. It never seems to stop talking. For most people, that voice feels so familiar that they never question it. They simply assume, that voice is me. But Buddhism gently asks a life-changing question. If you can hear that voice, then who is listening? The voice is speaking, but something inside you is aware that it is speaking. The voice becomes angry, but something inside you notices the anger. The voice becomes afraid, but something inside you notices the fear. The voice tells a painful story, yet something inside you quietly watches the story unfold. That silent awareness has been with you your entire life. When you were 5 years old, it was there. When you were 15, it was still there. When you experienced your greatest success, it was there. When your heart was broken, it was still there. Your thoughts changed. Your opinions changed. Your dreams changed. Your body changed. Your life changed. But awareness never changed. It has always been quietly watching. Imagine sitting beside a busy highway. Cars drive past every few seconds. Some are beautiful, some are old, some are loud, some move slowly, some move so fast that they disappear almost instantly. Now imagine believing that every passing car belongs to you. You would spend your whole day chasing them. You would become exhausted. But the truth is, the cars were never yours. They were simply passing by. Thoughts are exactly the same. Some thoughts are peaceful, some are fearful, some are wise, some are completely meaningless, some stay for a few seconds. Others return again and again, but none of them are you. They are simply passing through the mind. The moment you understand this, something incredible begins to happen. You stop chasing every thought. You stop fighting every emotion. You stop believing every fear. You simply observe. Imagine standing in the middle of the sky. Clouds begin to appear. Some are bright and beautiful. Others are dark and heavy. Some bring rain. Some disappear within minutes. No matter what kind of cloud appears, the sky never becomes the cloud. The sky simply allows it to pass. Your awareness is like that sky. Your thoughts are like those clouds. For years, you believed you were the storm. Now you begin to realize you have always been the sky. Storms come. Storms go. The sky remains. This is why wise people seem peaceful even during difficult times. It is not because their lives are perfect. It is not because they never experience sadness. It is not because they have stopped feeling pain. They experience everything that every human being experiences. They lose people they love. They face disappointment. They become sick. They make mistakes. The difference is that they no longer allow every passing thought to decide how they will live. They understand that thoughts are visitors. They are not permanent residents. Most people spend their lives trying to silence the mind. But the more they fight it, the louder it becomes. Imagine standing in a large room with a small echo. You shout, "Be quiet." The room immediately answers, "Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet." The harder you shout, the louder the echo becomes. The mind often works the same way. The more you fight your thoughts, the more attention you give them. The more attention you give them, the stronger they appear. Buddhism teaches a different path. Instead of fighting the mind, understand it. Instead of chasing every thought, observe it. Instead of trying to control every emotion, allow it to rise, allow it to stay, and allow it to leave. Every emotion has a beginning. Every emotion has a middle. Every emotion has an end. Nothing stays forever. Even your greatest pain has changed over time. The sadness that once felt impossible to survive eventually became quieter. The fear that once controlled your days slowly lost its strength. This is the nature of everything in life. Everything changes. Everything moves. Everything passes. Only the mind keeps pretending that today's feeling will last forever. The practical change begins with one simple habit. Several times each day, stop whatever you are doing for just 1 minute. Close your eyes if you can. Take one slow breath. Then ask yourself one quiet question. Who is noticing this thought? Do not search for an answer. Simply notice. The moment you ask that question, something beautiful happens. For one brief moment, you step out of the noise and into awareness. That small moment may only last a few seconds, but those few seconds are enough to remind you of who you truly are. The more often you practice this, the weaker the mind's control becomes. Your thoughts still appear, but they no longer carry you away. Your emotions still arrive, but they no longer become your identity. Your memories still exist, but they no longer control your future. Little by little, A quiet freedom begins to grow inside you, not because life becomes easier, but because your relationship with your own mind completely changes. You stop trying to control every wave. You learn to become the ocean. You stop trying to chase every cloud. You remember that you are the sky. You stop believing every sentence your mind speaks. And for the first time in a long time, you begin to experience something that cannot be bought, cannot be achieved, and cannot be given by another person: inner peace. That is why the hidden mental habit that creates all suffering is not simply thinking. It is believing that every thought deserves your complete trust. The day you stop automatically believing your mind, the day you begin quietly observing it instead, is the day suffering begins to lose its power over your life. That is the beginning of true freedom. And according to Buddhist wisdom, that is where your real journey finally begins. As we come to the end of this journey, remember one simple truth: your suffering was never created by life alone. It grew because your mind kept believing every thought, repeating every story, and resisting every moment. But today, you have seen another way. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that watches them. And the moment you remember that, peace begins to return. Real freedom is not found by changing the world around you. It is found by understanding the mind within you. May you walk through life with greater awareness, a calmer heart, and a mind that no longer stands in the way of your own happiness. If this message touched your heart, write "I choose awareness" in the comments below. And if you're ready to master your mind, let go of suffering, and discover the timeless wisdom of Buddhism, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next journey together. Until next time, take care of your mind, protect your peace, and remember, the greatest freedom begins the moment you stop believing every thought.